All right, let's talk about workout motivation. If you've ever found yourself staring at your running shoes, just unable to move, this is for you. And we're not going to hit you with the same old advice to just do it. No. Instead, we're going to build a real practical toolkit by hacking the single most powerful fitness tool you have, your own brain. We've all been there, right? You've got the time, you've probably even got the physical energy, but starting that workout feels like trying to climb Mount Everest. It's this invisible wall, this mental block. And today, we're going to show you exactly how to tear that wall down brick by brick. So here's our game plan. We're going to start by facing that motivation wall. Then we'll dive into hacking your inner voice and crafting the perfect workout soundtrack. After that, we'll get into the science of the mind-muscle connection, and finally, we'll put it all together to build your ultimate toolkit. Let's do this! First things first, the motivation wall. We all know it. It's that moment when your brain is just screaming no, way louder than your body could ever scream yes. And just acknowledging that this is a real thing is the first step. Because the solution isn't about having more willpower, it's about having smarter tools. Okay, so our first and honestly most powerful tool is learning to take control of that narrator inside your head. You know the one, that inner voice can be your harshest critic or it can be your absolute best coach. So let's make sure it's working for you, not against you. Now, the formal textbook approach is to use what are called fitness affirmations. But don't just brush this off as simple positive thinking. The key word here is reprogramming. You are actively rewriting the mental software that tells you to quit when things get tough. And here are some classic examples. They're structured, they're positive, and they're designed to build a solid foundation of belief. Seriously, repeating "I am stronger than my excuses" can genuinely shift your whole perspective. But that's the clean version. The reality is often a lot messier and way more creative. Because in the real world, in the middle of a tough set, it gets a lot grittier. This slide just nails the difference between the neat, tidy theory and the chaotic, messy reality going on in our heads. So let's look at the raw, creative, and sometimes weird mental tricks people actually use. And this quote just brilliantly captures one approach, straight up self-deception. Or, as this Reddit user so perfectly puts it, gaslighting yourself. It's this kind of mental tough love where you just convince yourself that the pain isn't real. It might sound extreme, but for a lot of people, it's an incredibly effective way to silence the part of your brain that wants to quit. Then you've got a completely different tactic, almost the polar opposite. Instead of fighting the pain, you reframe the entire effort. This person harnesses the power of gratitude, dedicating each mile to someone or something important. This completely shifts the focus from your own internal suffering to an external purpose. It's a beautiful way to find real meaning in the struggle. And then there's the analytical approach. Good old-fashioned distraction. This user literally turns their brain into a calculator. By focusing on a logical, unemotional task, like math, they cleverly bypass the part of their brain that's screaming about being tired or sore. It's a mental sleight of hand to trick yourself through the hard parts. Okay, so we've hacked our internal monologue. Now let's look at a powerful external tool, music. Come on, we all know a good playlist isn't just background noise, it's a legit performance-enhancing tool. And believe it or not, there's a science to building the perfect one. So what's the magic number? Well, research shows again and again that for most workouts, running, lifting, cycling, music in the 120 to 140 BPM or beats per minute range is the absolute sweet spot. It syncs up perfectly with our heart rate and our movement, and it literally makes the workout feel easier. But of course, one tempo doesn't fit all. You gotta match the BPM to the activity. You know, you'll want something slower, like 60-90 BPM for yoga or a cool down, but you can crank that all the way up to 180 beats per minute or even higher for a really intense session. And just like a good story or a good movie, your playlist needs an arc. You build momentum during the warm-up, you hit that climax with your fastest, most intense tracks right at the peak of your workout, and then you bring it all home with a satisfying cool-down. When you structure your music this way, you create this psychological journey that perfectly mirrors your physical effort. And let's be real, some songs are just built different. They're practically motivation in audio form. Tracks like Eminem's Lose Yourself or Meek Mill's Dreams and Nightmares, they are literal anthems of overcoming the odds. They're packed with this raw energy that can give you that extra 10% when you need it most. So we've got our inner voice dialed in, and we've got our outer soundtrack set. But why? Why are these mental tools so incredibly powerful? Well, the answer lies in this fascinating link between our minds and our muscles. Let's dig into the science. The key scientific concept here is called motor imagery, and it's basically a dress rehearsal in your mind. When you vividly imagine yourself nailing that perfect squat or running that last mile, you're not just daydreaming, you're actually engaging in a powerful form of mental practice. And this is the part that should absolutely blow your mind. Your brain can barely tell the difference between you imagining an action and you actually doing it. The very same neural pathways light up in your brain. This means mental practice alone can lead to real, measurable physical improvements. It's wild. And the impact is staggering. Just imagining a movement can activate your motor cortex up to 30% of the level of actually performing the movement. That is a massive physiological response generated by thought alone. This is proof positive that what happens in your head directly impacts your body. You're literally warming up your nervous system before you even lift a finger. So, we've gone through the mental hacks, the science of music, and the neuroscience that ties it all together. Now let's put it all together into a practical, personalized toolkit that you can start using today. So here it is, your ultimate motivation toolkit. First, become the master of your inner monologue. Whether that's tough love, gratitude, or just pure distraction, find the style that works for you. Second, become the DJ of your workout. Be intentional. Build playlists with a tempo and an arc that match your effort. Third, use mental rehearsal. Before you even move, visualize success to prime your mind and body. And finally, always connect to your why. Find that deeper purpose that turns a simple workout into a mission. I want to leave you with this one final thought. We spend so much time and energy focusing on our reps and our sets and our miles. But maybe, just maybe, the key to unlocking our true physical potential has been right there in our heads all along. What if training our minds is actually the most important workout we could ever do?